Hi guys, how are you? It is Miss Polly. It is Miss Polly, guys, and thank you guys for showing up. I know it's a spur of the moment live. This is Mind Over Tea, and we just started this channel, me and Dead Pill, and we've been getting our content together. Having conversations about what we will be sharing. And in the meanwhile, we are going to start having some lives, a little, build up this, obviously, this channel a little bit more. So we are newer on this channel. So if you guys don't know me, I am Miss Polly. I am the one and only. Not only, I will say, but I am definitely here as a supporter of relationships, different kinds of relationships, like talk about how the world impacts ourselves and how we affect our relationships each day. So that's something that we have had conversations about. And if you guys are new and haven't been following me, that's awesome. Please go ahead and subscribe. I am streaming this on my channel as well so that we can build up the subscribers on this channel. So if you have not done so, please subscribe to this channel also, as also from Miss Polly Wright, as you see down below. I'm on Instagram too. But today let's just go ahead and have some conversation. Um, you know, One of the big things that I've been seeing, not even only in celebrity news and things like that, which would be, relationships just dying. I mean, at this point, I feel like most of the time, everyone keeps talking about things being just hopeless. And so, with that being said, that's something, that really kind of, even in a way, it kind of bothers me because I know that even though I'm not monogamous, I still think about people who want to be in relationships. Obviously, I have children, so think of my children who want to be in relationships. And the fact that people think that they're dying is just like, it sucks because not only do they think they're dying, you have also people who are, participating in it dying. So then they act a certain way. If you're a monogamous person or whatever, and you think, oh, well, the relationships are dying, if that's your mindset, then you automatically are thinking that these things aren't going to work, right? And that totally sucks. Hey, everybody, for coming to visit. I'm just going to turn on the chat here. Uh, Welcome, welcome. But yeah, people who are, thinking that relationships are dead and all those things, it just kind of sucks to be in those kind of situations where, you don't want that. Hey, Black, like, I don't want, anybody I know to go in relationships thinking they're dead. Um, it just really, really kind of stresses me out because I'm trying to think of the future and what that holds, not just for my children, but also for myself. Um, One of the things that this channel over here uh that I like to kind of jump more into is just first on what's real and what's not, what's reality and what's not. That's really, really important. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just what it is. And we're gonna be sneaking linking and all this, not that. And at the end of the day, yeah, that's all fun and games when you want to play with it. But when we're talking about being in a real relationship, trying to build something with somebody, that's reality. And what does that look like? And that doesn't look like me just coming to your house every now and again and getting some ads. That's definitely not what that looks like. So, you know, we also want to think in that mindset of, who do we want to be with too? Because I think what's happening right now is the younger generation is in the mindset of all relations suck. Nobody wants to be in them. They're not beneficial. That's the number one thing. If y'all don't know nothing about this community of people that we live amongst, they want instant gratification, and they also do want something really quick, fast, easy, in a hurry. It's like they want it to be right then and there. They want everything to be right, and they're not patient and don't want to put in work. We have a lazy culture just in general, and I mean that I'm including myself. When you live in it for so long, you have to include yourself, right? Because that's reality. I have to include myself. And we live in a place where hard work is valued very, very little. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking people who are, working hard every day like that. Yeah, people give you high five, say, "Oh yeah, you're cool," but like, how many successful men do you see get these wonderful high fives for just being a consistent worker? The only people who get high fives are the men who actually make it past just being consistent, just past being in the middle. The ones who are being above and beyond are really the only ones getting a high five in these situations. You don't see like a regular day gentleman getting high fives for just being himself and working hard, which he should, because regular men, that's what most women are, regular too. And that's what they should be getting, the ups for doing something every day. Because I'm gonna let you know, a lot of these women out here, they don't want to wake up every day, and no matter what sickness or whatever, a lot of women out here like, oh, I got my periods on, or I got a headache, I can't go to work. Men really don't have that luxury to do such things. They have to go to work every day. They have to work just as hard, if not harder, every day that they go in, because they have to be able to provide, and provide stuff for everyone in their home, even if they're not with children, they don't have all that. They just have to provide a kind of lifestyle for themselves so that they can be eligible to even date other people or even try to have a family at some point. They have to put on, a lot to do that. So that's one of the things that I think they don't look at. I don't think anybody really view men in that way. So I mean, that's one thing. Um, so the regular man should be valued, should be looked at as a person who's really putting in effort to make things move, make things happen, because those are the people who are working every day. Okay. So I think that's one thing. And I'm just sending this link out so other people can check us out. And if you want to join, up here, oh man, sorry about that. If you want to join the live, let me know. I'll send out a link here because sometimes. Um, hang on one second, guys. I might have to. Oh Lord, hang on one second. If you guys bear with me. Hey, Nazareth, can you do me a favor by chance? And I know, um, you would do this for me. Would you come up here for a moment? Just for a moment here, if possible, and kind of hold down the slide. We're kind of talking about relationships and relationships being dead and what that kind of looks like. I think I might have a little situation here. I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll see in a second. But if you want to come up, I'm just copying that link real quick. If you bear with me just a moment. Okay. Okay. So okay. You put that up there. Okay, so I put that out there. Okay, but anyway, if you'd like to join, you have a little chitter chatter, you can, of course. Um, but back to what we were talking about tonight. We really want to focus on talking about, like you said, these the relationships that are dead and destroyed. I don't think they are, in my opinion. I don't think they are. I think it's just they're just lost in what direction to go into. That's a really big thing. The direction of where to go. Hi, I'm single. Being in a place where you don't know what you want in your life, and even if you do know what you want, not knowing how to obtain it is a real issue. I think there's a lot of people out here who would love to have different situations come their way. They want a wife, they want children, all those things, but they don't know how to go about getting those things. They don't know how to get the things that they are really desiring, as a people. And I'll be honest with you, I think that a lot of these relationships right now, they're going to change. I don't think monogamy is bad. I don't think poly is bad. I don't think lifestyle is bad, but I definitely think there's a transition that is taking place. There's a transition that's taking place, and no one knows where it's going yet. And that's the key to all this. Nobody knows where it's going. So if you don't know where our society is going, I think that makes for a lot of confusion. A lot of people are lost on what we're doing. I myself think that we're going towards a more, I'm going to say two things. I'm going to say open relationship situation. Now, what I mean by open is that people will be okay with their partners having other partners. I'm not saying that's a great idea, because a lot of times those kind of relationships, people don't communicate very well in them. All they know is that their partner is allowed to go do something, and that's what happens. And there's not really a lot of conversation. Not saying anything's wrong with those things. I'm just saying that they can get very messy. And then I also think we're heading towards more of a poly life, where people are going to start having, like you said, a few people that they are with, and those people stay the same. Now, I've seen some things, another day for that. Obviously, if you're on my channel, Miss Polly, probably right. We will have conversations about that. But, we just want to talk right now, just in general, how we think that transition. I think a lot of people are going to come to the realization, which is reality here, is that no one is really seeing the benefits of being with each other any longer. Capitalism, and the society that we live in no longer value teamwork. Now, people who live here value teamwork. People of other cultures value teamwork. We all know Americans do not value teamwork like other places. And when we're all seen as individuals and not not any kind of group at all, I think that's where the issues really come in. So when we talk about relationships are dead, I think it's not only just relationships with one-on-one boyfriend girlfriend. I think it is also an issue with people just making just relationships in general, because you don't trust anyone. All those things you build in a relationship, you do have those same things with other people. You do. And even like if you're a person who doesn't believe in partners or whatever, or you don't want believe in a husband and wife situation, you have to know to some degree. Okay, now you could be all by yourself all day long, and that's wonderful, productive. At the end of the day, you being able to interact with others though does make a difference, because you can do so much more when there's a lot more of you. Other communities do this all the time. So when you're in America, we don't do that. We don't value it, and those things are not seen in households. They aren't seen in relationships, and that's how our community and our environment really affect us as people. And I think it affects us as women also. We just had a little live a little while ago, kind of um referring to people being, oh, I'm gonna get M3 up here. Okay. Hey, M3, how are you?
Pretty good, Miss Polly. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I am good. Yes. So yeah, I was just like I said, we were just kind of talking a little bit here tonight, just about relationships. Are they dead? But what is your take on such a wonderful thing?
I don't think like relations. Oh, what up, Mister Best? I
Hey, family,
don't
what's
think
going
nothing much. Actually, I'm glad that you're here, Mister Best. Are you able to stream from on knowledge relationships and intellectual soapbox at the same time?
Yep, already got. I'm already about to do it.
All right, thank you, man.
Okay.
um,
Yes, sir.
Let me fix
you
this
know,
a little bit.
I don't think
I'll fix this
relationships
one.
are. Yeah, I don't think relationships are dead, Miss Polly, because relationships are still around. It's still gonna be around forever. But the thing is, it's just the dynamic of relationships has changed.
Okay.
The problem is that you know there gonna be some people that's gonna have to adjust themselves
Mhm.
to a modern way of how people deal with relationships. The foundation of relationships used to be a little bit more stronger, where you have some type of stability. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Where things were straightforward. I mean, it was okay to have friends with benefits. You know, but now these days, everyone is always switching up on things,
That's true.
and it's come to a point where people are so impatient, like they don't take the time to allow relationships to develop. It's like the moment you see this person, you find this person attractive, you instantly like want to hook up with them. You know what I mean? You don't want
Yeah.
to give it time enough to see, like, okay, could this person be an asset to your life, or could this person be a liability?
Right.
And because people don't want to see that, they just want to just live for the moment. And live for a moment, it will give you some sort of like gratification, but it's not going to last that long. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's the thing that people really have to understand is that, um, you have to try to, adjust accordingly when it comes to that. So I don't think relationships is dead as far as, like there's no hope to be in a relationship. But I think probably what died is, the traditional ideology of what relationships used to be. Things that used to be in the 90s are no longer valid. You know what I mean? So you have to find a way to try to adjust in your life. So that's just what it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. So I'll let Mr. Best, you gonna go ahead say what you think about relationships possibly dying?
I don't think relationships are dying. I think that they're just changing. I just think that the level of um, how can I say? I think when it comes to romance or chivalry or things of that nature, I think that those things are kind of fading away. So I think people are not really romantic. They're not really chivalrous. They're not um, really doing those type of things like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you're not seeing the whole courting thing like that. You're not really seeing people like really meeting people and kind of building a bond. You know what I'm saying? Like I think those things are taboo, but I think it's also, as I said, these things are age specific. I don't think anybody who's like over 35 is actually just doing just a lot of random stuff all the time. I think that they kind of will have more levels to the relationship, whereas they'll have somebody who they look at as a long term. They'll have somebody who look at as far as business. They'll have somebody who look at as far as like a hookup or whatever. But they don't see everybody the same way. But if you have somebody who's under 35 or somebody who's a youngin or somebody who's like on I guess on that demon time or that ratchet time, yeah, they're gonna move differently. They're not gonna move the same as like you're gonna move on M3 or myself. Like they moving on a whole different time frame. Their mindsets are different. They're taking let's be honest. They're taking a lot of them, not all of them, are taking different type of drugs and substances and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And combined with like the foods and things that they're eating, like it creates an unhealthy culture for them. But for them, this is the norm, right? So for them, they're gonna be doing, fentanyl, or they're gonna be doing. I mean, they're gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff, and then drinking Mountain Dew and going to Taco Bell at like 2 a.m. Like this type of stuff that they're doing. Like they live in a different lifestyle than we're living. We don't live like them. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to be cognizant of that. So I think dating now is it's the first time, and it's only due to technology that we are dating, you know, where dating is kind of broken up into three different regions, right? So you got the young cats who are dating one way, then you got people in middle age like we are, then you got the old heads, right? All three of us date differently. None of us date the same. You know what I'm saying? We may have aspects that are similar, but none of us date completely the same. Because the stuff that the old heads do, I'm not really doing a lot of stuff that the old heads do. I may do some of the stuff, but not all of it, right? Old heads are going to do things a whole different way. They may be more traditional. They may have more traditional values. They may have more values where they kind of want men and women to kind of move a certain way. And I'm not really on that type of time all the time, right? Whereas somebody my age, we're kind of traditional, but yet we have some modern values, right? Then you have a young head, they probably don't have no traditional value at all. And if they do, it's probably very limited, right? Unless they come from a background where they were taught traditional values. So they making their own rules and they're making their own relationships, right? Hell, they even making their own communities, right? So like that's a new thing. Like I wasn't like when know what I mean, when I was in my 20s or younger, like you wasn't making no communities. Like it was like, all right, you know, either you like men, you like women, or you like this, you like that. You go to church, you know what I'm saying? Yes, like it was real simple. It was like but now it's like these communities and then these sub communities and then these subcultures, and then you have to use different terms for people. Like there's so many different things that these young people doing, man. I can't keep up with it, man. It's too much. So like, you know what I mean? But I respect them. Like if they tell me to call them, if they say like, hey, my name is Yellow, I like to be referred to as Yellow, I'll call you that. Like, yo, what's going on, Yellow? What's going on, Earth or Air, whatever you want me to call you. Like, as long as you tell me, I'm cool. You know, whatever gender you go by, I'm cool with that too. I don't trip over that. You know what I mean? But don't expect me to know because I'm not going to know unless you tell me. So yeah, and then like I said, the younger cats also have a lot of like expectations of their genders or their race or whatever they're associated with. I ain't had those expectations. You know what I mean? As long as you respected me, I was cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Salute to
Okay.
Evolution. I see you in the comments. Salute.
Yes. Hi, Evolution. Thank you for coming with us. She what? Yes. So she said, "Let's versus the lames." Oh wow, that's how you feel, guys.
But yeah,
Okay. Let's
no,
see here.
like I said, I agree with Mr. Best, man. You know,
Now, okay. So, like I said, so do you think that okay, so like I said, I was talking before kind of about how it's going to transition, right? Do you think there will be some kind of transition that will take place after, at this point? It's going to transition to something different.
I mean, relationships always going to transition to something different. There's always going to be something new when it comes to it. But the thing is, what's the unknown is that, how would it transition? What will people would be like? You know what I mean? And the next like switch when it comes to it. But the thing is, unfortunately, I think the problem is like when we're used to something that was once good, or that actually was something that was conducive, like in our lifetime, and then things change, we have a problem of adjusting. And as hard as it will sound, because whatever that was good for us, we wanted to stay the same. But unfortunately, you're gonna always have a fresh breed, a new breed of people that's gonna operate differently. And when that happens, it's like, and if you're still single, are you gonna still try to carry on those same type of traditions, or are you gonna adapt into modern way of relationships?
Yeah, that's true. What about you, Mr. Best?
Um, yeah, there's always gonna be a change because, like I said, I think technology is what's causing a lot of the change. Technology and exposure to different things. You know what I mean? Um, because like, and I'm just gonna use a different, like an example that I know of. Like, I know, like me and M3, we kind of still a part of this church community, and the church community that we are part of. Church community that we're a part of, like they, um, when we were kind of like coming up and doing different things, like you know, um, it wasn't we didn't have the exposure that they have now, right? So now in the church community that me and M3 know about, like they have like a full blown like website you can go on and like find people who are part of church community all over the world, right? So I can like if I was single, I can get on there and I can meet somebody from like Sudan, or I can meet a woman from Australia, or I can meet a woman from because the church is international, so I can meet a woman from literally anywhere, right? You know what I mean? Just but I could be sitting in my house. I can get on this website, make me a profile, boom, right? You know what I mean? I'm a part of a church community, and all the people that's a part of the church community is like, you know what I'm saying, is right there. You know what I mean? I can talk to them, I can exchange with them, we can share information. I can share scriptures with them, you know what I'm saying? Like we could build a spiritual bond, we could pray together. We didn't have that back in the day. We had a cell phone, right? And like a Facebook. That was about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe a MySpace, you know what I mean, if you wanted to use that. But you know what I'm saying? We didn't have this option. But now, if you're single now, you go to the church community that we know, like you can literally get online, get online, and I know a few friends who've done this. They got online and they met their spouse on this website. You know what I mean? That's a part of the church community that's international. So of course that's gonna change the way people do things. If you put me back then now in this way and trying to date or whatever, man, I'll be having so much fun because there'll be so many options. Like it wouldn't be just like my community, or it wouldn't just be the women that are around, America or whatever. But now, or just even within the few states that I know of, right? Or because
Mhm.
I was in New York, so we had like the tri-state area. So that was like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, right? But if you came out to the Bay where M3 was at, you know what I mean? You had the Bay Area, San Jose, LA, you know what I'm saying, and all parts of California. Even places like Washington, like Seattle and Oregon too. You know what I mean? I gotta include them because they was a part of that too. You know what I mean? Yes, Christian Mingle is popping. Okay. So, if you do have a faith, and you do kind of want to date based on your faith, you can do that, and you don't have to be out here with the riffraff. You know what I mean? If you feel like I'm gonna say riffraff, let me not say that. You don't have to be out here with just common folk if you want to date based on your religion or even based on your lifestyle. They even have one for for farmers. I've seen something online for like people who like to farm and they only want to date people who farm.
Oh
There's
Lord.
communities out here. No, this is a real thing. There's so many communities out here that you can date within your realm, right?
Right.
That actually changes the dynamic. So when people say that there's no options out here or there's no good women and there's no good men, that is a lie. Okay. You what's really going on? I'm gonna tell you exactly what's going on. Then I'm gonna land my plane. What's going on is that people want certain people to be certain things for them, right? So like let's say Miss Polly, I want you to be monogamous, right? And now I'm mad because you're not monogamous, right? So now I'm like, man, all these women want to be poly. Don't nobody want to be monogamous no more. Y'all all just want to be poly now. And it's
Mm.
no. There are some women who want to be monogamous, and there's some women who want to be poly. What experience made you feel this way? Whereas you feel like all women want to be poly, right? Because that's what we don't touch on. So that's what really goes on out here, and that's it.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, and I understand that. Like you said, like a lot of people like, okay, so let's see. When we're talking about like the technology, we're talking about advancement and all that, right? That's reality is that our world has gotten so much bigger, even though we didn't think it was that much bigger. Like you said, when we were dating, it used to be just us. You got like a few little cities you could drive to, and that was exotic to you. Now it's like the world is your oyster. You can go to any place. Like you said, you got women who the regular woman who used to work at Walmart and Target can now, save up at the end of the day, or they can go to Colombia. People are getting passports. People are going just even out of state. Out of state dating's a really big thing. Online dating has changed a lot of this, and I do think a lot of it does have to do with technology too. I agree, because if you have access is a really big thing. Access in all kinds of things, access to everything. If you can reach something, then you no longer are just saying, "Oh, this is the best it gets." If you had to choose between 10 men and you're like, "Okay, I have to pick out these 10 men. Okay, let me figure it out." And there's only going to be these 10 men or whatever, for so many years. You'll figure it out. But now if you have, okay, listen, you no longer date between the ages of 16 to about 25, where then people get married and they stop kind of dating for a good portion unless they get divorced. You're no longer dating within a certain age range either. Now you basically you see people dating all the way up, I mean, ageless. So at this point, you're not only dating within a large age group, now you're dating amongst also people in different cities and towns. And so now you have the option of not only just dating these 10 people, but you have all the people in the world, and you also have a larger time frame. So now you might think, okay, I might find my special person within the years I'm in college. A lot of people did that. Within 4 years, I'll find my husband. Well, now people aren't even getting married until they're out of college a lot of times. Okay, that means I have now, instead of having 4 years to find my husband, I have 15. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It makes everything seem like you have so much more time that you can put into it. And I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh, women hit the wall and all this thing. Because it's like time has changed. And what I mean by that, not like time itself, but the time caps on things have changed. You know, they'll say the new, what is it, the new 20, the new 40 for some guys. It's like it's all messed up because now we have all this access to people and things. And that's my opinion on that. Okay, Evolution said, I gotta start putting my CPU to better use. I need the 50 Cent look-alike dating site. Ma'am, ma'am. I mean, dang. Listen, no, we don't need G Unit. Okay, ma'am. And I think
G Unit?
we know no G Unit. Lord, 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 Lord. So I'm just saying, I think it's made a lot of difference in how we are dating, why we think relationships are dying. Um, and then people who are a little older, like our age, I mean, shoot, you know, we're like, dang, we feel like we might have time still to find our love, our life. And then some people are like, no, your time is gone. You should have found your husband. You should have found your wife when you was in your 20s. And you know what I'm saying? So that kind of messes it up a little bit. What you think, M3?
Here's the thing, right? It's all based on circumstances and the attitude of the person. So I'm not gonna sit here and just be like, okay, you have a certain time limit before you find someone. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I've seen older people who are like 50s and 60s that get married. But the problem is that when you're not being realistic, you know, based on your own circumstances, you're not being realistic on the ideal man or woman that you want, you're gonna remain single. If you have that attitude where, here's the thing, I'm not encouraging people to settle for anything less, but when you think that you're more beyond than what society is looking at you as, maybe you need to kind of like, you know, reassess yourself. If you're not really putting the work, don't try to put up this like fake confidence where you really think that you're gonna get any guy that you want or any woman that you want. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that. And that's what leads like a lot of people to be bitter. But I believe anybody could like, you know, well, not everyone, but at least for a good portion, a good amount, I believe people could like find someone when you change up on yourself, you know what I mean, for the better. I think people have a better attitude, like in relationships and dating, um, and just seeing people for who they are, as opposed to just trying to get a quick fix. I think relationships will be better for them, at least a little bit easier. But I could be wrong.
Okay. I mean, we right. We all could be wrong when it comes to that. Now on Mind Over TV, like I said, we talk about more like reality over like the gossip and all that. So I want to bring a little bit of our celebrities in here, and then there's a reason for that. Okay, now we always don't talk about celebrities, but I'm just saying I want to bring it in because this is a reflection too of our culture. Okay, we
Well,
got we have to
Ms.
get
Polly,
and realize things.
before you move on to
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
celebrities, can I make a quick point about what was said? Um, 'Cause I do want to stay on track. I don't want to get off topic. I just want to say I think also a big thing is too that um, okay, this is it, right? A lot of times too, we are attracted to things that are not good for us. You know what I mean? So we sometimes we can be attracted to characteristics or things in people that are unhealthy, right? And these things are not going to help us, right? They're actually destroying our lives, right? And they're destroying the potential that we can have to meet somebody who can actually build with us, bond with us, and help us to have a good, healthy relationship. But the thing is, sometimes we like what we like, right? You know what I mean? I like this girl because she do this to me in the bedroom, or she cook this way, or she do that, or she do that, right? But we're not looking at all the toxic things that this girl is doing. We're not looking at all the toxic things this woman is bringing into our life, right? All we see is how they're making us feel in one particular aspect,
Hmm.
right? And then when our friends and family are like pointing out, like, "Hey, man, hey, they did this to you, they did that to you, they did that to you," right? But sometimes we're so caught up, you know what I mean, and what we want or what we perceive or whatever, that we just forget everything. We just like, nah, man, forget it. I want this. You know what I mean? I don't care if it costs me this, or if I lose this, or if I lose that. Like, I will do anything to get to that, right? Or get to this person.
Mm.
And and women do it too. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I just want him. I want him to be my man. I don't care what he done did or what he done said. I want him to be my man. It's like, well, hold on, like, this brother's doing this. He's not working. He's not doing this. He's not taking care of himself. You know what I mean? Do you know that he's been doing this? You know he has a drinking problem. We'll start naming all the factors, and sometimes our friends and family don't want to hear us because they just want what they want, right? You know what I mean? So we all have been there. Sometimes we all just want what we want, and even though it's not healthy for us, we still gravitate towards it.
Yeah, no, I do believe that. Yeah, we do. I think even sometimes we want something the idea of something so badly that we will pretend that we don't see the signs of things that are wrong. You want that man so bad. You want that girl. You want to be connected to that person so bad that at this point you're just going to ignore things that are just outright it just don't make sense, and you'll let people treat you bad. That's another thing. When you're in a
Mm.
relationship with someone and they know that they have enough over you, basically, like they know that they can get away with murder and they don't necessarily like you, that's a really bad combination because now they're going to do whatever they want and they know there's no real consequence. And even if there is a consequence, like you leaving, it doesn't matter to them. So then they'll just do whatever they want and treat you any kind of way. And those are things you really need to pay attention to. And that's what I was saying, and when we go into like those celebrity things like that, like, Christiana and all them, same thing. Same thing. It's like you see people who are toxic for you. You see, and it's almost turned into a game. And that's what the problem is. These games. Who was I think, oh God, what's her name? One of the Braxtons. I forgot which one it is. She ended up, she was married or not married. She was engaged to the white man, right? I forgot his name. And then he started messing around with one lady and then got right back with her. It's like, okay, so
You talking about no, you said white man?
it was a white man. I thought it was one of Tony
You talking
Braxton's
about
sisters.
Tamar?
Tamar, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were engaged and then they not got divorced. They were engaged. They called off the engagement. And then there was another little celebrity lady who was
Mm-hmm.
supposedly said that she didn't really like him, but she got him to buy her a couple things, whatever. And all of a sudden they're back to
Yeah,
get together again. And you're like,
yeah. After he was
you
talking all that
understand?
ish.
And I mean, I think he did try to teach her a lesson. I do think he tried to teach her a lesson. Whatever that was, I don't know. But I do think he tried to teach her a lesson. At the end of the day, she still got with him. Maybe she felt like, okay, this is somebody I really want to be with at this point. And like you said, a lot of women are getting older. I mean, you're not going to look like that. And the surgeries, like you can't keep doing surgeries like that without risk. The more you get, the older you get with them, the risk you're going to be doing. I'm not saying she had surgery. Please don't get all sensitive. Yeah, her name was Tommy. So what I'm saying is like all of that. Who wants to be running around like Ti and Tiny? Like who wants to be running around trying to get a man or a wife? And you didn't plastic surgery yourself up to the point that like any more surgery you might explode.
Mm-hmm.
It just like a balloon, just pop. Okay, and then as a man, you're already at your peak. You're already there. You're doing what you want to do. It's like, why would you want to invest and get to know someone to that extent? That person already has basically known you most of your life. You're gonna find someone or even have time to invest in a person like that. Your emotions to that degree. That's a whole lot. That is a whole lot.
Yeah, it is a big turnoff. Like when you start like messing with your natural beauty, and then you start applying like with, all like the fake plastics on your lips and your nose and stuff. Even like when you put like heavily makeup on your face, that's to me it's like a big turnoff because I enjoy the beauty of a person. Now there's some people, yeah, you probably will need a little bit of makeup, but for the most, like when you start like trying to like get like a BBL, try to get bigger titties and stuff, and all kinds of plastics. It's like ultimately, as you get older, that stuff is going to make you look even worse.
Mm. I mean, it
And
does.
people may think that rich people like those things. They may like to play around with it. You know what I mean? But I think the most that will probably be attractive to them is like the lower class people. Like the average people. But the above average, you know, I don't think a lot of them's gonna really go for that when they have like abundance of options that they could choose from. And if they're natural, cool. The more natural they are, I think the better the selection. But that's just my opinion to it. I ain't no high status person, so what do I know?
You have to say anything to say, Mr. Best?
I mean, yeah, I think that um, I think our options sometimes can be limited to what we see or what we think we see on TV or media. So um, we'll see all these different images and we think that, oh, that's the norm, and it's like, no, that is not the norm. That's just the norm of what you're seeing on media, right? Or what media you're watching. But like I said, if you here's the thing, here's a good and bad of technology, right? The bad in technology is like, of course there are going to be images that you are going to be force fed, right? So you're going to be force fed a lot of ratchet and garbage and drinking alcohol and eating all this bad food. Like, this is what you're going to be fed on a constant, right? You could be watching a football game, you could be watching a documentary, you could be watching something informative, right? They're going to always socially program you to do these things, right? So you'll see the same commercials running over and over again, to the point now where certain commercials come on, like a fast food commercial come on. A lot of times I mute the commercial. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Or if a car commercial come on, it's like every time I look, y'all advertising about 4 or 5 different cars. Like, who the hell has all this money to be buying all these goddamn cars? You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is what they put in front of you on a constant, right? So this is what you're seeing. So if you're always seeing these things, you're starting to think this is the norm, right? But it's not. It's not the norm. So what you got to do, so that's the bad about technology. The good in it is that you can change the things you can see, right? So if you're really looking for something that fits your style, you can find it. You know what I mean? There's a community out there. It may not be advertised, right? But you can find it if you really are looking for it. You know what I mean? If it's something that you know will benefit you, if it's something that's going to help you be more positive, yo, I'm telling you, you can find whatever communities that you're looking for. I don't care if it's religious based. I don't care if it's lifestyle based, if it's health based, anything, especially if it's health based. Like, well, all of them really.
Mhm.
You can find any community or any type of people you want to gravitate towards. You know what I mean? And especially when it comes to dating, forget about it. In dating, you can find whatever community. You can find communities where they're all about watching Disney movies, right? So if they're into movies or cartoons and they like to date, you can find a community like that. You can find a comic book community who's into dating. You can find whatever you want. You just got to look for it. It's not going to be advertised. I'm letting you know that right now. You're going to have to do your research, okay? I'm going to be completely clear about that. But you can find it if you really are looking for it.
Okay. So I mean, I'm really like, oh, well, I'm gonna put this out there. This thing probably been here for like just 15 more minutes. Like I said, it would be like an hour or so. So we'll get your last thoughts, but I do agree that you can find what you're looking for. I think there's a lot of people out here who are not sincere about dating intentionally and dating for a purpose. And so when you say is relationships dead, or when I did put that out there, I don't think relationships are dead. I think that there are people who are mixing wanting relationships with wanting interactions together. I think that's a real issue. You wanting to have human interactions, that includes sexual interactions, just socializing, just wanting to feel cared for and loved or treated a certain way, is being confused. And those are all things you have in a relationship, but they're being confused with an actually full on relationship that takes commitment, takes work, and takes a lot of your time. Regardless if you don't have a lot of time, you still have to put whatever time you have you seem valuable into that relationship. People want all the benefits of things without putting in the work and not having to do anything. They want everything so easy. They want everything so easy. Don't have to do too much, right? I think it's a problem because we all know things that are worth getting are worth working for. We all know that. I mean, that's just common sense. And so if you want to find a lady out here, like you said, I think they're just not looking in the right places. You have a man who's ready to get into a serious relationship, and he's going outside. He's like, "Oh, well, I don't see anyone out here." Those same guys are the ones who are going to clubs. I'm not saying it's wrong with them. I'm saying these some men are looking maybe in the wrong place, looking at going to clubs where they say, "Well, where do you find the nice ladies?" Well, I mean, a lot of them you're not going to find them where you would go. You would have to find, when you get to a certain age, you have to find someone who's into the same things you are, like you said. If you're in a comic book or something like that, find someone who's going to have an interest that it's like going to be a long lasting interest. Someone who likes, like you said, one big thing is activity. Someone who likes to hike, someone likes to do it, then you like to do that, go find those people. I'm not saying they're all going to be perfect, but I'm saying put yourself in a situation where you can find the best situation for you. I mean, I think it's out there. I just think we need to start looking for it in the right places and making sure that they're both on the same page about being intentional. Because some people say, "Yeah, I really want a girlfriend." And they just want to either have sex or have somebody they can, touch on, or even a woman, same thing. She just wants a quickie. But no, I want somebody who's really in it all the way. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah.
So, Miss Polly, let me ask this question, right, before we go to our final thoughts, right? Let me just ask this one question. So is part of your view based on the fact that, because I know you say that for you if you're building with somebody, you like to love unconditionally, right? You know what I mean? So, are you saying that based on the fact that you don't really see that nowadays? You see people more dating with conditions and not dating unconditionally, where people have these lists or they have these criterias, and like, well, for me to love unconditionally, for me to lead, or for me to be submissive, or for me to do this or do that, this is a whole bunch of things the other person got to do first. You know what I mean? Before I even do this, right? So, are you saying it based on that, or are you just saying it based on just things you see from other people?
I said a little of both, but mostly you're because the only part I try not to push my own belief is a lot of people do not believe in unconditional love. They believe in conditional love and they think that's the best way that love can work, which I'm not against it. So I can understand their point of view when they come to it. When it comes to loving someone and conditions guarantee to some extent success. And it also makes them feel secure. When you have unconditional things, that means that no one can really be held somewhere other than the fact that they want to be there. And a lot of people aren't willing to take that chance because that is a lot. I had a conversation with Bruiser, and he made that comment of why would well, don't you want to have someone who's married to you? That's how you can make sure that they're not going anywhere. They're going to make sure you're. I, I don't want to make sure that anyone's going to do what they're supposed to do for me. Because there's people out here who want to live like that, and that's cool. But I want to know someone wants to do something for me because they want to be with me or they love me and care for me and they want to do that. And that's really a nice feeling to have. If you can say that, that's amazing. Like I can say my partners are here with me. I don't know. They can say their reasons all they want. I know at the end of the day that when they're here with me, it's because they chose to be here. It's not because I'm holding something against them. I'm not gonna pay your rent and gonna pay your phone or them. I'm not here with them because they're paying my bills. They're not here because I'm giving them money. They're not here because I'm giving them only P. I'm just saying like that's what makes insecurities really. If you're not sure of yourself and who you want to be, you're always going to be questioning it. But when you have unconditional, I don't question it. Because if you didn't like what was here, even if you don't like something about me, you like it enough to stay. And and that doesn't matter if someone else comes. If someone else comes in your life, you like me enough to stay. You don't go anywhere. That's the most wonderful feeling in the world to me. But that's just me. But on the other hand, when it comes to other people, I get it. Conditions also make you feel secure. because you didn't know, oh, I have his kid. I'm not saying that makes you stay. I have his kid. That means I'm connected to him for life. Oh, if he leaves, then he's going to have to pay all this money. And that is a real turnoff now for men and women to get in relationships where they feel like there's no benefit. There's no condition that's enough for them to stay. And I do believe that.
Hmm.
Mhm. I'll let you have you go ahead and have the mic there. You want to start with M3 or you want to start, Mr. Best?
Um, I would okay. Ooh, I would say what you desire is definitely fathomable, right? And I think most people do want what you're asking for, right? So what you're asking for and what you are putting out there, I think we all do want that. Now, here's the thing, right? To put yourself out there to that point is very dangerous because you know what I mean. A lot of times people feel like, listen, if I put myself out there like that, the potential of me being hurt or being disappointed is very high. So I'd rather date with conditions so that, kind of, I guess how Bruiser was alluded to, but I don't know the conversation you and him had, but how he may have been alluding to, you have to have conditions in order to protect yourself or maybe protect the ones that you're around and you protect your kids or whoever else, right? So there's got to be conditions so ultimately you're protecting your heart, right? And you don't want to be taken advantage of. But I understand why you would date unconditionally, and when it goes well, the satisfaction that that brings. You know what I'm saying? But for a lot of people, they could feel like, nah, that's too dangerous. I'm not doing that. But I definitely understand the how
Yeah.
free you can feel and how great it feels to say, man, I gave my all. You know what I mean? And I really
Mhm.
love this person with no conditions, and it feel good, and that person loves you back, and it's just you're all moving in the right direction, everything's going well. Like that feels great. But
Yeah.
it's like, but the potential of it going that way, man, it's I'm not saying it's slim. I'm just gonna say it's not easy. That's what I'm saying.
Well, there's one rebuttal for Mr. M3 goes first. The reason why I'm saying that also too, it kind of forces you to make better choices because when you can have conditions, you also can make a condition where you can leave things, and you could be like, oh well, as long as you're giving me the D right, or as long as you're giving me the P right, or whatever condition it is, you have the freedom to leave and be like, whatever, right? Either way, but I have to make a better choice, especially as a woman. I have to make a better choice of who I pick because I have to ensure that because there is no condition for me, that I'm picking people who want to be here for a good reason. So it forces me also to evaluate people a little different. But keep going, Emperor. You go ahead. I'll let you wrap it up. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have done.
I mean, okay. I'm not here to try to sway like where you come from, Miss Polly. And and I respect that. You're the type of person that you believe that, you know, in your household, the people you're with, there should be no conditions. But however, I believe that subconsciously we all have conditions. Because here's the thing. If we say we have no conditions, that means that our spouse, our partners, whoever that we're with can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? And, in terms of conditions, it's like, okay, what will be like your deal breaker? Because, it, we got to be careful when we use these type of words because we may not be thinking at the moment because we believe that love should be unconditional. You know what I mean? But however, everyone has like a limit. Everyone has a deal breaker, whether you if you agree or not. And I would ask you pretty much like, what would be like your deal breakers into the relationship with the man that you're with? What would actually break that bond?
I'll say that's why that vetting is so very important. Um, the only thing I can say is if someone wanted to walk away, they have the option to walk away because it is not under any conditions that you stay. But That would be the one thing. But for me, I guess what I mean by the conditions, it would have to be like the hitting, something like that. But that's what I'm saying. The vetting, we wouldn't get to this place. We wouldn't get to a place we would enter into a relationship without me vetting you good enough to know that we're there. And if I did miss something, because that does happen, people miss things. Someone beating you, abusing you. Those are things that obviously, I wouldn't be a tolerant person of. So I think it would have to be something along the lines of abuse in that manner. But like if my man lost his job for 6 months, I mean, I'm not gonna leave him. If my man is going through a stressful moment, if have a moment of weakness, I know people don't believe in poly. You can cheat, you can. If those things happen, you're not communicating well. Those are things that we need to work on as a couple, not something that is a termination of those things. And that's kind of at the like you said, but that's the whole point I'm making, is that it's a scary place to be in. So you need to make sure you're vetting properly and picking the right people. And I'm saying that not from just person saying that, because people say I live in a fairyland. That's fine, but at the end of the day, I don't have short-term relationships either. So this isn't like, oh yeah, no. So obviously I've vetted and picked the right people to the extent that I'm still with them. So
Okay.
I do think that matters.
Okay. I'm gonna give you one more bit of pushback. And
Okay.
and here's the thing, and you know, I've said in numerous of these live streams about vetting people properly. But however, right, the most common pushback that even I would get, and I would do the same for you, Miss Polly, even though you could vet people to the T, you could be perfect at vetting this person, and you could be 100% right of this person's character. However, I don't, and this is at for the moment. However, you know, over time, people do change, values change. You know, values change well, I won't say drastically, but far beyond at least every 10 years, you know, or probably 5 at this point. And so the person who you picked, he may be the right guy for you at that moment, but then the years go by, something probably changed or whatever about this person, and now it will feel like you chose the wrong guy, but sometimes it's just life. You know, the value system of what this person had pretty much switched up. So sometimes, yeah, we could think that we could avoid certain problems in relationships by properly vetting, which in some cases it does help, but realistically, you never really know who the person is or how this person will turn out until like you actually get into a deeper connection or live with this person for X amount of years. So
Okay. So yeah, like I will tell you this. So there are people. Yes, you're gonna change, especially if you know each other's stuff since you were younger, which I have been with someone for quite a bit of years. So yeah, things do change, but the values, the deep hardcore values that you should have saw when you were vetting, those don't
mhm,
change too much. And I'm gonna be honest with you, men don't change too much. Men don't really change too much. Not to that degree where it's chaotic. And if they do, there's probably something else really wild going on. Usually around 40, they kind of go through a little bit of something. Um, but it's just kind of grabbing their youth back. And if you're a wife who's in that situation, or a partner, you see that, that too shall pass. And they usually go back to where they are. And they're
yeah,
just going through that process. So as men, you'll see that too. They'll go through that process. But as a person, their main value shouldn't change. They might start spending money like they're rich because they want the car that they didn't get when they were teenage, all that. But at the end of the day, okay, just throw on some tight pants and get in the car with them, baby. Just drive around with them, let them feel great. That and just like
okay,
women, they go through menopause. Women start feeling like they're not cute enough. All that they might start. these are phases through our lives, but the core values that you should be vetting for, those should not change that extreme. And if they are, it means you're right. Things happen. I'm not saying you're going to be perfect at vetting because that's a problem. A lot of people don't know how to vet properly. But the main core values in someone who's dedicated to their family, who was a hard worker, you're not going to be a hardworking man one day and then say, "Oh, I don't want to work anymore." Then not most likely that's not going to happen unless you don't want to work for the man, and that's a whole other story. That's not you not wanting to work. That's you trying to change the way you're working so you can work for yourself. Those things are not the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I like. So, well, I will say I appreciate you guys coming up here. Shout out to Evolutionaire. Okay, Lily was in here, Lily Washington. Hey, thank you guys for stopping by. Subscribe and like the video. I really appreciate it. I am single. We appreciate our love for coming up here too. Mr. Best and M3, thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Like after this channel, we're gonna keep our lives a little shorter, hour and a half, maybe, depending on the topic. So we're gonna wrap up the show. I appreciate it. Thank you, Evolution. And we're gonna let you guys go be great for the rest of the evening. And thank you guys for sharing it and spending some time with me tonight. I appreciate it, especially after work.
Definitely, family. Much love. I'm definitely holler at you guys later. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Bye.
Well, definitely appreciate the invitation, Miss Polly. So yeah.
Anytime. Okay, guys, you have a good night, and we'll see you guys all later. Bye.